Good morning, everybody. And as usual, happy Saturday. It's Coach Ray. It's good to see you guys back. So for today's class, we are going to need access to 2 long sticks and 1 short stick. So all 3 sticks today. We are still working with macebells, so we're going to get into a few different patterns. One of those patterns is going to be a dynamic lunging pattern where we are switching the sides of the head of the macebell. We're also going to be working with an overhead press as well as a row variation with the macebell. And so for today's class, we are going to start with a full body warm up. We're going to actually work from the top down today. So we're going to work on the shoulders, spine, and we're going to get a little bit into the hips. And then we're going to continue on from there. And our cool down, we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to go from the hips up. So let's go ahead and get started. I have the short stick here with me. And we're just going to start at the shoulders and neck first. So we're going to take the stick with a double overhand grip. I'm going to go with a roughly hip width stance here. Toes are going to be pointed forward. Elbows are locked out straight here. And what I want to do is I want to drive the stick down towards the floor here. So it's going to set my shoulder blades, kind of engage my lats. And I'm just going to actually get some neck movement. So I'm going to pull my chin back, and then I'm going to tilt my left ear towards my left shoulder, and then up and over and tilt to the other side. Continuously driving that stick down towards the floor at roughly about 20% tension. Switch over the other side. Good. Let's go one more time each way. Just getting a little bit of neck movement here. Good. Back to center. And now we're going to go circle. So I'm going to tilt my head, my chin up. And I'm going to create a circle with my chin. So I'm going to start by going to my 9 o'clock position. So rotate to the left, all the way down, then to the right, back up, and then switch directions. So go to 3, 6, 9, 12. Let's go one more each direction. 9, 6, 3, 12, 3, 9, 6, 9, 12. Good, back to center here. And now still holding the stick with a double overhand grip. I'm gonna lightly pull the stick apart, about 20% tension, 20 to 30% here. And I'm gonna bring the stick up overhead, nice and slow. Make sure you're squeezing those glutes. Keep control of the rib cage here. Once I get to that overhead position, I'm going to pull with my left hand. So I'm going to pull my right bicep to my right ear. I'm going to hold this position for a second. So notice that this left arm is straight. I don't want it bent. Then I'm going to pull with my right hand, pull my left bicep to my left ear. Hold. Other side. Good. Switch over to the other side. Switch. Pull with that left arm. And switch again. Back to center. And come down. And ease off. Take a second here. I'm going to have you bring your hands in quite a bit closer here. So slightly wider than shoulder width. And we're going to get into the overhead position here. We're going to go dislocates. What we're going to do is at the top end of that range, you're going to push and pull. So this is going to, again, get those shoulder blades to be moving and activating those smaller tissues. So I'm going to get into that roughly hip to shoulder width stance. Toes are forward, squeeze those glutes, lock those elbows. I'm going to pull the stick apart. Let's go 30% tension here. And I'm going to bring the stick up overhead. Keep control of the rib cage. And I'm going to bring it all the way up to that overhead position. I'm going to turn to the side here. So this is as far as I can get while still controlling the rib cage. Now I'm going to compress the stick, so try to shorten it at 30%. And then I'm going to pull the stick apart. As you pull apart, you should be feeling that upper back activate. Compress the stick. Pull apart. Compress. And pull apart. Pull back down. And ease off. Excellent. We're going to place this short stick down. We're going to grab 2 long sticks here. Now we're going to go with a wide stance. So wide is whatever's comfortable. This is going to depend on your mobility and what you have access to. Now I have both feet angled out slightly. This just allows me to get into an open hip position as I actually lunge to each side. But the first thing we're going to start off with is actually just a T-spine stretch. So I have both sticks angled in towards me. My hands are roughly about shoulder height here. I'm going to lightly drive those sticks down about 20%. And I'm going to hinge forward, having a slight bend to my knees, or sorry, more so hinge back, driving my hands out. You should be feeling a nice stretch in that T-spine, that mid-back. Gonna come up. We're gonna go into it again. Drive those hands out. And really try to create as long of a spine as you can here. Excellent, come back up. Now I'm gonna move the bottom of the sticks to the insides of both feet here. So I'm gonna have my right hand up, more closer to my forehead. Left hand's gonna be roughly about rib cage height, but you can always adjust that hand. So since my left hand is lower than my right, I'm gonna be lunging to my left. So from here, right arm is straight out. I'm gonna lightly drive that right hand down and hinge forward a little bit. Then I'm gonna bring that left stick across and lunge to my left. So I'm getting a lot of rotation here. Back up. Where we're gonna go again. Lunge to the left. And pull back with that right arm. Come up. Let's go into it again one more time. Lunge to the left. Excellent, back up. Now we're gonna switch those hands. So left hand is up high, right hand is lower. Now we're lunging to the right. So left hand arm is straight, drive down, lunge to the right, bring that right stick across. Back up. Let's go 2 more. Lunge to the right. Breathe. Back up. Let's go one more time, folks. Lunge to the right. Excellent. Come back up. Gonna wiggle those feet in. Good. We're gonna place one stick down. Don't need it for now. So now we're gonna get into slap shot. We're gonna create a lot. So what I really want to focus on with the slap shot is mostly the pulling apart, getting that upper back active. So from here, we're going to go back into that wide stance. And try to get your stance a slight bit wider if you can manage. All right. Now from here, I'm going to hinge, slight bend to the knees. So it's keeping them soft mostly here. Then I'm going to rotate the left end of the stick down. And I'm actually going to get across my midline since we just kind of did a little bit of rotation and warm up a bit. And I'm going to pull the stick apart at 30%. So I want to get quite a bit of tension here. I'm going to lunge to my left. Really try to sink down into it. I'm going to come back up. Lunge into the left again. Hold this position. Now pull apart even harder, so up to 50%. Good. Back to center. Ease off pulling apart. Now we're going to switch sides. So I'm going to bring that right side down. Again, across that center line. Pull apart. 30%. Lunge to the right. Really try to sink into that right hip here. Back up. Now lunge to the right again. Increase the intensity. 50%. Pull apart. Good. Back to center. Ease off pulling apart. Bring it back up. Nice and easy. And wiggle those feet in. Excellent. Now, we can go with the short stick, or I'm just going to keep the long stick in hand since I already got it. we're going to work on external rotation. So I'm going to bring my right hand out and across. So if the stick's on the ground, here, you can actually kind of use the stick being on the ground and on the inside of your foot to create some internal rotation here to kind of load that. So we're going to use this as a way to kind of create a little bit of shoulder tension with internal rotation, and then we're going to get into an external rotation stretch here. So from this position, notice that my elbow is in front of my shoulder here. That's where you want to keep it. Now from this, my bottom of the stick is on the inside of my foot. Again, you can go with a shorter stick and just have it held in place here. From this position, I'm going to grip the top of the stick and I'm going to internally rotate. So notice that the stick is bowing. So I'm only going at about 30% here. And I just want to hold that position. Good. I'm going to ease off. Now I'm going to pick up the stick with my left hand and I'm going to go in an external rotation. Just going to hold here. Now I'm going to try to lengthen that stick 30%. So pull the stick apart, try to lengthen. You're going to feel those external rotators in the shoulder activate. Now you're going to compress the stick. Good. Hold. Good. Now we're going to ease off, come back to center, and relax. We're going to switch sides here. So we're going to bring that left hand across in front of the stick. Again, that elbow's in front of the shoulder. We're going to do that same thing. We're going to internally rotate. So gripping the stick, I'm going to internally rotate that left shoulder. The stick should be bowing out this way, this direction. So away. We're going to hold. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Ease off. I'm going to pick up the stick and I'm going to get into external rotation. Hold. Now I'm going to pull the stick apart. Breathe. Excellent. Now try to shorten the stick. Compress. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Ease off. Nice and slow. Wonderful. Now we're going to take the second stick here. We're going to work on the hips. We're going to work with internal, external rotation first. So I'm going to start with my feet together. Bottom of the sticks are angled in towards my toes here. My hands are going to be roughly about shoulder height. You have them a little bit higher if you'd like. Now from here, I'm actually going to kind of shimmy over to my left a slight bit. I just want to make sure my right foot is directly in the center of the stick here. Now from this position, I'm going to drive both sticks down. I want to keep my left leg straight. So you want to drive that left foot into the floor, nice and hard. And I'm going to bring my right knee up. Just bring it up to hip height. And then I'm going to externally rotate, touch my right foot to the left stick, and then internally rotate. And we're just going to touch here, just taps. Go back and forth. It's 2. It's 3. Keep dropping those sticks down. It's 4, 5, and 6. Back to center, bring it down, and ease off. We're gonna come over to the other side a little bit. Again, left foot should be in the center of the sticks. Drive both sticks down, about roughly 40%. Bring that left knee up, externally rotate. Good, internal. That's 1. 2, keep your knee in the middle. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Bring that left foot down and ease off. Now I want to work with a little bit of hip extension from a split stance. So as we are going to be doing a lunge variation, I'm actually going to turn to the side here. So we're actually going to get a stretch in the anterior tissues. We're going to get stretch in those hip flexors, the psoas. through getting hip extension on that back leg. So I'm gonna have my left leg forward, right leg back. I'm gonna take a split position. And I'm gonna have the bottom of the sticks roughly about in line with the arch of my foot on my front foot here. Now my hands are gonna be roughly about shoulder to chest height. Now my right heel, my back heel is up high. And I wanna start with it high here because we're gonna leverage dropping that heel down to get that hip extension and get that glute to fire. So I'm gonna load my legs a bit, so my left knee is stacked over my left ankle. I'm gonna drive the sticks down, 30% tension here, and I'm gonna hold a posterior tilt. Now from that position, I'm gonna drive my right heel down towards the floor, so I'm gonna extend. Gonna hold for 3, 2, 1, exhale. I'm gonna bend that knee, so you should be feeling that glute fire. Extend and drive that right heel towards the floor. 3, 2, 1. Bend the knee back in. Let's go one more time. Drive that right heel back and down. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Back in and ease off. Really simple drill, but it's just trying to get the glutes to fire, get those anterior tissues to open up a little bit more. So I'm gonna go right foot forward, left foot back. You can always vary the distance between your legs or vary how big of a split you're going with. So from here, I'm gonna load that front leg here, make sure it's stacked over the ankle. Now from here, drive the sticks down 30%, and I'm gonna tuck my pelvis, posterior tilt. I'm gonna drive that left heel down towards the floor. Your hip position shouldn't change. 2, 1, good, bend that knee. Extend again, drive that heel down towards the floor while holding that pelvic position. 2, 1, excellent. One more time. Drive that left heel down. Hold, 3, 2, 1, excellent, and ease off. Wonderful, good. Now, we are gonna be going with a offset press first. So, for this, I have a 15-pounder. Start with whatever you'd like. You can actually even use a small barbell for this actual particular exercise here. Now, the objective here is to keep control of the shoulder blades, but also keep the mace bell horizontal the entire time. You don't want it doing this as we're pressing, right? We want to make sure that we got good control and stability of the shoulders and the shoulder blades, and make sure everything's moving as smoothly as you can, as it's getting to that overhead position. Now, we did a little bit of shoulder mobility warm-up, at least with the overhead positioning. So the hand position is going to be a double overhand grip. And depending on where you're gripping on the mace bell, that is going to dictate how heavy it feels. For example, if you grip more towards the head of the mace bell, it's going to feel easier to control. However, if you bring your hands in closer, that lengthens that lever, which increases the amount of resistance you're going to get. My suggestion, maybe start a little bit closer to the head of the mace bell, and then you can work your hands in as we go through our sets. We're gonna do 3 sets of 5 per side, 5 presses. So from here, I'm gonna take my right hand, place it on the mace bell, so you can see that it's actually about roughly a little bit wider, or more, a little bit up towards the middle, or towards the head here. And I'm gonna take a shoulder width stance. I wanna have my toes pointed forward, and squeeze my glutes. You want to lock those hips into extension. I'm going to bring the mace bell into a shoulder press position, and just like with any overhead drills we do, we want to make sure we keep control of the rib cage. You don't want it to flare up and out as we press. We want to try to keep that rib cage down, so core engaged. From here, I'm going to press up overhead, lock, and then back down. Nice and controlled. Keep it horizontal the entire time. That's 1, press. That's 2, nice and controlled. press, 3, let's go 2 more, press, 4, excellent, 1 more time, and press, 5, back down, good. We're gonna bring it down, and we're gonna switch sides. So the good thing about this is it's gonna work a lot on that shoulder stability, but the loads aren't too heavy. Remember, you can always control where your hand placement is, which is gonna dictate how challenging it's gonna be for you. So from here, core engaged, ribs down, press, 1. Good, press, 2. Press, 3. Press, 4. 1 more time, and press, 5. Back down and ease off. Now, the good thing about this drill is we're not only working lateral stability, because as we work with the macebell and the weight's mostly on one side, we have to fight that lateral force. So we don't want to get into that lateral flexion. So we're working the obliques, we're getting the shoulders, we're getting the shoulder blades. Let's go ahead and get back into it. Let's bring the hands in a little bit more. So bring the hands in maybe about 1 inch or 2. So we're gonna have the macebell going out to the right side again. Bring it to that rack position. Press. 1. Up. 2. There we go, good. Up. 3. 2 more. Up. 4. Last 1. Up. 5. Back down. Ease off. Let's go ahead and switch sides here. Try to get that grip to be roughly about the same. Good. Press. 1. 2. Doing good. 3. Let's go 2 more. Nice, good control. 4. 1 more time. 5. Excellent. Ease off. Take a second. Shoulders should be burning a little bit. Should be feeling them work quite a bit. So this is a good way to kind of warm up, or even use as an exercise just to work on strengthening the shoulders. We're gonna go 1 more set. What I want you guys to do is just try to bring your hands in just a little bit closer to make it a little bit more challenging. So let's just go 3 repetitions for this one, so it'll be a little bit harder to control. And you'll notice that there's a push-pull relationship between your hands. So I'm gonna bring my hand in closer. All right. So it's gonna be more reminiscent of a close grip overhead press. So my hands are roughly about shoulder width here. Bring up into that front rack position. Up. 1. Up. Try to keep it horizontal. 2. 1 more. 3. Back down. And ease off. Good. Let's go ahead and switch sides here. Set a position. Up into that front rack. Press. 1. 2. 1 more time. 3. Good. Back down and ease off. Now we're going to go with the row variation. It's going to be very similar to what we just did for the overhead, just a row. Now for this, same thing. The rules still apply. If your hands are closer, you're going to get a lot more resistance on the lateral tissues. We're actually going to take the short stick here and we're going to warm up the row movement. Now there's no way to truly mimic it, right? Unless we're using a rack and pulling up into it. However, just to get those posterior tissues active, I'm gonna go with a row grip, so double overhand grip. My grip's a little wider than my hips here. I'm going to hinge back in a position, and I wanna make sure I have a nice good neutral spine, core engaged. From here, I'm gonna pull the stick apart at 50% tension, and I wanna pull my shoulder blades going down towards my back pocket. I'm gonna pull up, still pulling the stick apart at 50%. Once it gets up to the belly button, go back down, pull apart the entire time. Straighten those arms out, pull back up again. That's 2, back down. One more time, pull up. 3, back down, and ease off. Good. Now we're going to use the mace bell. We're going to do the same thing. What you're going to notice, one side's going to be working harder than the other. There is still that push-pull relationship between both hands. I'm actually going to grip closer to the middle. I'm not going to grip towards the head. Again, you can vary this however you need to. From here, the mace head's going out to the right. Going to get into that hinge position, that position we were just in, right? Now from here, I'm pulling with my right arm and I'm pushing with my left. So I need to create that stability in the lateral tissues as well. And we're going to row. We're going to do 8 reps. So pull up. 1, you're going to feel that right side or the side that the mace head is on working harder. Pull. It's 2. Still 8 reps. 3, try to get all the way up to the belly button. 4, 5, 6, 7, one more time. 8. Good. Now we're going to switch sides. Get in that same position. I'm actually going to turn to the side here. So go with that same grip. Make sure your back is nice and neutral. Shoulder blades in that back pocket. Keep the mace bell nice and horizontal. Right? Shouldn't be moving and doing this. Let's go 8. Rope. 1. Good. 2. 3. 4, 5, doing good. 6, 7, one more time. 8, up and ease off. Excellent. Take a second, and we're going to go again. So there are also other ways to do this or do row variations. This is just simply the most basic to actually work with. We're going to go one more set here. We're going to go 8 reps again. So if you'd like, you can grip in even a little bit closer, right? So hinge, shoulders down in your back pocket. 1, 2, good, stay nice and strong. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, last one, 8. Good. Switch sides. Let's go again. Hinge, shoulders in your back pocket. 1, 2, breathe. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excellent. Good. Now, we're going to get into a dynamic lunge. So we're going to go back and forth between each leg. And we're not actually going to be moving forward or backward. It's just basically doing a reverse to a forward lunge. So for this, your hand switch does need to be a little smooth. I'm going to move these out of the way. So my suggestion, and I'll actually kind of show you, is as you switch. So let's say I'm in this position and my left leg is back. As I come up and I'm switching, I want to slide my right hand up as the head comes in towards the center. And then as it flips over, I slide that right hand up towards the head and go back on that right leg. So we're going to be switching that way. If I go to switch and I take my right hand off as the mace bell head is over here, it is a lot harder to control the mace bell. So bottom hand is what's controlling that mace bell the entire time, right? Now, we're going to start with the mace bell, the head of the mace bell on my right hand, and we're going to do 5 per side here, right? So since it's in my right hand, I'm going to start by stepping. Let me step back a little bit more, got a little more room. I'm going to have my feet together. Do not step in line, just step straight back, right? So from here, step back, switch, right? Make it smooth, step back, switch. Two, good. 3, 4, one more each side, and that's 5. Good. All right, so that switch should be seamless, should be pretty smooth going from one hand to the next. If you're finding that you're having a hard time, slow it down even more. There's no rush. I prefer you to take a little bit longer between each lunge just to make sure that your hand switches are correct. So we're going to go again. We're going to do one more set. We're going to go 5. Again, try to keep that transition as smooth as possible. If you can make it all one move, do so. I'm going to start with the mace bell on our right side again. Both feet are together. Step back with the right. Good. Make that switch a little faster. That's 2. That's 3. 4. 5. Let's go a few more for good measure. 6. 7. 8. Excellent. Good. So, when it comes to certain drills, especially ones where you're switching hands, there is a particular technique to doing it. But as long as you slow it down, don't rush it, which is a big one. Take your time. You'll get a lot better as you practice more with the mace bell. We're going to get into the cool down here. So I'm going to take the 2 long sticks, and we're actually going to go with working on the adductors and hamstrings. So we're going to do effectively a standing straddle stretch. So we're going to go back to that wide stance, and the stance is going to be as wide as whatever's comfortable. If you're super flexible, obviously your stance is going to be much, much wider than mine, but this depends. Now, I'm going to have the bottom of the sticks angled out in front pretty far here, and the sticks are actually on my shoulders. I want to keep my knees soft. All right, so keep a little bit of a soft knee to start with at least. We can always kind of straighten those knees out just to create a little bit more tension in those adductors, and then bend those knees again. So I'm going to have both of my hands on the top of the sticks here. Also, try to have your toes pointed forward. There's nothing wrong with having them point out a bit if that's a little more comfortable, but if you want to try to get them pointed forward a little bit more, we're internally rotating those hips. Now from here, I'm going to have my hands on the top, and I'm going to drive my hips going back, reaching down towards the bottom of the sticks here. Sorry, I was itching a little bit. And I'm going to sink my hips back as I reach that bottom position. I'm going to hold. Now, from here, straighten your knees. So lock your knees out. Get that extension, almost like you're trying to flex your quads, or it should feel like you're flexing your quads at least a little bit. And then go with your soft knees again. Shift your hips forward. It's going to ease off that stretch. If you like, you can wiggle your feet out a little wider and then sink back into it again. So reaching towards the bottom, you want to try to keep as neutral of a spine as you can. Lock those knees. So flex your quads. Excellent. Ease off. Shift your hips forward. Again, if you'd like, wiggle your feet out a little bit more. All right. Then sink your hips back. And you can even slide going down more towards the bottom of the stick. Flex those quads. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Shift your hips forward. Wiggle your feet in. Then slide back up the sticks. And wiggle your feet in all the way. Excellent. Now we're going to go to the floor. We're going to do open book rotations or sideline rotations here. So I'm going to use the corner of a ramp. This is going to act as a wall. If you have something stable to press the sticks into, I suggest you get to it. So from here, I'm going to start on my left side. So left hip is on the floor. So with the stick in my left hand, I want to bring that into the wall. I want to have something for him to press it into. My left foot's on the top of the stick. My right hip or upper hip, top hip, is going to be under the stick here. And I want to make sure that this knee is in line with my hip joint. I don't actually want it below, and I actually don't necessarily want it up much higher either. I kind of want to keep it more even. Now the stick that's in my right hand is behind me. With this left hand, I'm going to grab the stick and I'm going to pull it down towards the floor. Right? That's going to be the first part. If you're in this position, you might actually be getting a nice little stretch in your glute. That's okay. If your glutes are tight, that's going to feel like a pretty darn good stretch. With this right hand, I'm going to drive the stick into the wall. Only about 20% tension to create some tension in the lats and the obliques. And then I'm going to open up and rotate to my right. The objective is to get your right shoulder to the floor, not your right hand. I'm going to come back up, open up and rotate to the right again. Make sure you breathe. Let's go one more time. Come back up and rotate to the right. Excellent. Come up and then ease off. And now we're going to switch sides. I'm going to rotate over. On my right side, my right hip down. Left leg is under the stick. Again, that knee is at hip height. Right hand's on the stick. I'm going to pull down towards the floor. Again, you can hang out here for a second. Let that left glute get a nice little stretch here. So left hand is on the stick. Drive that stick into the wall 20%. Open up and rotate to the left. Back up. Let's go two more. Open up, rotate to the left. Open up. Let's go one more time, folks. Rotate, open to the left. Excellent, come back up, ease off. Nice and easy. Now, if you have a pad, something to kneel on, you go ahead and grab it. We're gonna do another drill. This is gonna be focusing on rotation. So for this drill in particular, I have done this using the corner of a wall or the ramp. You don't necessarily need it for this particular drill, but you can use it for a little bit more, if you want to feel a little bit more stable. Now I'm going to start off in a tall kneeling position. My ankles are plantar flex, so I'm extending my ankles out just so the tops of my feet are into the floor here. The bottom of the sticks are roughly about a foot, maybe 16 inches from the front of my body here. I want to keep them close. If they're out too far, that can pose a little bit of a problem because the sticks have more of a chance to slide. So I'm actually going to bring them in a little bit closer here. My hands are roughly about face height or forehead height. But what I'm going to do from this position is I'm going to hinge. Drive my chest going down towards the floor here, so I'm going to get a little bit of extension. Now to further increase it, I'm going to sit my butt down towards my heels, so driving my torso forward. So we should be getting a lot of thoracic extension here. Then I'm gonna come up, and then back into it again. We're still driving the torso, going down towards the floor the entire time. Back up. Let's go one more time. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. We're going to slowly come up and out. Nice and easy. Good. And we're going to go to a standing position. So we're going to grab the short stick here. Just want to finish off on the shoulders. Show the shoulders a little bit of love. We're going to take the short stick. We're going to start off with kayaking, and then we're going to finish off with some dislocates. Just trying to get everything to loosen up here. So I'm going to grip, not even grip actually. I got my fingertips on the ends of the stick here. Stick's a little bit too wide. You can just go with a palms forward grip or a thumbs out grip here. I'm going to have my left hand up. Now for this, always remember with kayaking, you want to keep your your elbows extended. You don't want to bend the elbows. That takes away from the movement of the scapula. So my feet are roughly about hip to shoulder width apart, toes are forward, left hand's up. I'm going to drive that left hand through. Right arm comes up and over, then switch. Drive that right arm through. Nice and slow. Keep it controlled. Shouldn't be going any faster than I am. Good. We're not getting any spinal movement. We're not getting any rotation. All this movement is only coming from the shoulder blades. Excellent. Let's actually go backwards here. Switch directions. So left hand comes down and up. Right hand comes down and up. If your shoulder blade started off feeling a little sticky, it should feel a little bit smoother now. Doing good. Excellent, and ease off. Good. Now we're going to go into our dislocates. Start off wide. Start off with your hands wide. Then if it's feeling comfortable, feeling good, you can move your hands in a little bit closer, right? If you start your hands in close, that's a lot of demand on the shoulders, so be careful of that. So shoulder width stance, toes are forward, squeeze those glutes, hips into extension so you're not getting into that low back. Arms are straight. From here, we're going to pull the stick apart, about 20%, nice and light. And I'm going to bring the stick up overhead, nice and slow. Up and over. If you can, touch the stick to your butt. And then back up and over, pulling apart the entire time. Let's go a few more. Up. Good. Come back over. Let's go a couple more. You can wiggle your hands in a little closer if you'd like. Excellent. Back up. Let's go one more time. Up and over. Good. And that concludes today's stick mobility class. Thank you, friends, for joining. I hope everybody had a good class today. I will be sure to catch you all next weekend. As usual, stay safe. Have a good one. Catch you later.